I wholeheartedly welcome Dr. Kushal K. Das, organizing committee, and all the viewers. And so, as we come to the second last session of MedInvade 2020, can't believe these 3 days went away in a blink. So without further ado, let me begin by introducing Dr. Kushal K. Das to you all, who will be giving a very interactive and a very fun session to us on interdisciplinary research in health sciences. We are very grateful to him for his time, as he is the first Asian to occupy the position of the Dean of Environmental Health under the UNESCO Chair Life Sciences. He is the Distinguished Chair Professor of Physiology and in charge of Laboratory of Vascular Physiology at Sri B.M. Patil Medical College. And he is Dr. Professor Das is also working currently in Vijaypura at Sri B.M. Patil Medical College. He is the first Asian to occupy the position of the Dean of Environmental Health under the UNESCO Chair Life Sciences, Biophysics, Biotechnology and Environmental Health. He completed his PG and PhD in Human Physiology from University of Calcutta. His research area was metal-induced cell signaling in vascular pathophysiology on low oxygen microenvironment. He became the professor at Al-Amin Medical College as he served as the assistant professor of physiology. Further, he went on to do his postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Leeds, UK. And then Professor Das joined the BLD's University, Sri B.M. Patil Medical College. He further also became the visiting professor of medicine at Leeds Medical School, University of Leeds, UK. He is a visiting professor of physiology at School of Medicine, Tulane University, New Orleans, USA. Professor Das's one of the most significant contribution in science is the invent of a new method of vitamin E estimation, for which he received a scholarship from the University of Edinburgh. Professor Das is also a recipient of several national and international orations and awards. That includes the Honorable G.P. Chatterjee Memorial Award 2019 by the Ministry of Science and Technology. The Government of India also awarded him with Dr. Raja Ramanam State Scientist Award in 2015 by Department of Science and Technology. Government of Karnataka also awarded him the Science Honor and Truth Medal by Academy of Medicine. His works are cited in WHO, EPA, ASTDR as references. He has successfully supervised 21 PhD students, 10 MD students, besides the 2 postdoctoral fellows in his career. He has also received several research grants from ICMR, DRDO, DST, VGST, etc. And the list goes on. He has more than 100 Scopus, PubMed publications, dozens of books, and books chapters in his credits. He is the grant receiver of ICMR, DST, SERB, and NPDF, DST, and National Science Council of Poland. He is a peer academic assessor of NIRF since 2018. We are very grateful to have you, sir, with us, and I request you to begin the session on interdisciplinary research in health sciences.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Aisha, for nice introductions. I do not know so much of time you have spent for introducing me, but I'm worth of it or not, I'm not sure. And thank you, Dr. Umar, and all the guests and the organizers. Specifically, I thanks to all the students who are today listening and attending my talk. Besides, since 3 days, they are extremely busy and occupied with listening the galaxy of scientists, research talks, and valuable suggestions. It's really wonderful that SMR is doing quite good for making students aware of multiple aspects, including research. And I also liked the way it has been organized, and specifically including culture as a part of it. I think that human life culture is a very important point. So you did a splendid job. You are doing a great job. So my heartfelt of best wishes to all of you, specifically the young students all over the world who are listening today this program. The talk today is interdisciplinary research in health sciences. This is a little bit tricky topics. The reason is we occasionally, regularly, routinely, we speak about the interdisciplinary research or interdiscipline itself. Hardly we able to understand what exactly interdiscipline means or other branches of sciences or literature or whatever it may be, how it comes as a discipline and interdiscipline or multidiscipline or transdiscipline. These confusions are everywhere. So we use this word very randomly, but without having a proper idea. So I thought, let us discuss this issue to young students, specifically of the idea about the interdiscipline. So I have chosen the research as I'm involved since 30 years. So I decided to discuss on interdisciplinary research. And again, I confined specifically on the health sciences and two more specifically towards the medical sciences, though interdiscipline may be in any of the subjects which I will discuss in the short period of time. Let me first tribute to three very important persons in my life who has actually taught me the sciences. The first one is my professor, B.N. Cole. He's expired, he passed away just this year in the month of May. He was my professor, an outstanding physiologist. Perhaps I have more inspired to do some work on physiology, either by teaching or by research. Perhaps Professor B.N. Cole's contribution is the most significant in my life. I salute Professor B.N. Cole. The next is Professor John Morrison, who has groomed me, specifically the area of research, though he is a urologist, a typical clinician who involve research and service together. He is the fundamental person who has given me scholarships to University of Leeds to do some research as postdoctoral. He has also instrumental to select me as a visiting professor of medicine in University of Leeds for 2 years, that is 2014 to 16. Currently, he is an emeritus professor of integrative biology. His influence to me, and still we are in touch. Almost every month we usually communicate either by mail or by telephonic exchange. One of the wonderful persons as a mentor, I really indebted to him. He taught me, if Professor B.N. Cole taught me physiology, professor or science, Professor Morrison might have taught me philosophy of science. He taught me, he himself used to tell, I taught you everything except physiology. The reason is that he used to tell that I'm a urologist, though I did research in physiology. But my aspects, when I find that it polishes when I become the teacher in physiology. So I have taught you the essence of science and I tried my best. He taught me bird watching, music, fishing, everything. He is a great musician. Leeds Philharmonic Orchestra is run by him. Now he is not well, so he's not joining. He's a perfectionist of music, and that only one can understand if they listen the music, the songs, or specifically his piano, and violin, the way he played for Western classical music. Perhaps I might have got some of the taste of Western classical music from John. He taught me how to listen Johann Strauss or Tchaikovsky or Mozart. He has taught me. So that's the reason he said he taught me everything except physiology. I think I have learned philosophy in my life from him. Greatly indebted to John. Third one is Dr. Susan Lehman. She has directly and indirectly put a tremendous impact on me. She discovered two neurochemicals, substance P and neurotensin, where she was student at Harvard Medical School, working for PhD under Ulf von Weller, who is a recipient of Nobel Prize for discovery of substance P and neurotensin, which actually discovered by Susan Lehman. As she was a student, so she did not able to get the prize, but her name is mentioned in the Nobel Committee, and Wikipedia in her name clearly mentioned that she is the discoverer of substance P and neurotensin. And she is also the first American woman to become fellow in National Academy of Science. So I have a close connect with her. She's basically a Jew, but she was also her father was a victim of Holocaust. So she has the perfect blend of humanity. And also, perhaps I have learned some of the humanity from her. Her laboratory was open for every community. And I have seen that where the people from India, Pakistan, very surprisingly, are scholar under her. And she is such a magnanimous. Her life story, biography, autobiography is available in internet free of cost. So one must read her biography to know who is Susan E. Lehman. So thank you for giving me a chance to talk about my mentors who have great influence. And I believe a medical student, a doctor, physician, or a great scientist must be influenced by appropriate and very proper mentor. Mentoring is a very important in the academic life. My salute to my trio mentors. Let us come to the point. Discipline. So my topic is as interdisciplinary aspect of this research in health sciences. So let us see the word discipline. There is always a confusion I have noticed. That is, whether the discipline and subject are same. This is the question asked me by many people. Here, I have to slightly clarify. Subject is a small domain, whereas discipline is a vast domain, but both are actually sharing the knowledge. They are the knowledge based. How can I explain an example? Very simple example. Mathematics is a discipline, but algebra is a subject. Similarly, electronics engineering or electronics is a discipline, whereas digital circuit may be a subject. So it's a very interesting, discipline is a vast and magnanimous, whereas subject is a small and little narrow margin, but they also play in knowledge domain. So a subject may become a discipline in future with gathering of multiple knowledge. So various knowledge or improvement of the knowledge will actually increase make the subject transform into discipline itself. So this is the discipline. Now, interdiscipline. Interdiscipline is nothing but the synthesis of knowledge from multiple aspects. Today, I will mainly discuss on medical science and health science, this part of the interdiscipline. But I will also give you an idea that what exactly interdiscipline it means. So I will give an example, the quote from the US National Academy of Science. They have defined the interdiscipline as, quote, a mode of research that integrates information, data, techniques, tools, perspectives, concept, and or theories from two or more disciplines or bodies of specialized knowledge to advance fundamental understanding, unquote. This is the interdiscipline which I am going to discuss thoroughly. Multidiscipline is the different disciplines which we have mentioned are come together And they ultimately do not confine to one unique or one particular objective they go. Objective of multidisciplines are different as per the discipline concerned. That discipline, each discipline concerned, they never mixed up, but they support each other. That is multidiscipline. And transdiscipline research, more than is a discipline, it is the object or a purpose which need to be solved. So various resources from multidisciplines, or they join hands together and they solve the issue and the problems, which may also translate it into a new discipline by itself. Biology and medicine together made biomedicine. Biological sciences and engineering, unique example, a discipline called bioengineering. So these are the transdiscipline. Let us show in graphically. So how the figure will illustrate. Please listen very carefully. A and B. A is the medicine, B is the genetics. Let us consider this is one discipline, this is genetics, is other discipline. These two disciplines, they work together. And what they do, they want to solve a problem where it is individually different objective for each of the discipline. So A and B work together and they share the knowledge together, and then this knowledge means medicine. They get support from the genetics, gain the knowledge, help to develop regenerative medicines. Whereas genetic also take the support from medicine. So knowledge from medicine increases human genetics to go for the clinical genetics aspects. So various disease and all perspectives are solved with the support of medicine. But see here, genetics remain genetics, medicine remain medicine. They do not mix up to form a new like a trans or completely do a project to make an objective to reach a target. This is interdiscipline. Same, medicine and genetics, medicine and genetics. Now they actually work together to solve a problems and to make the subject in a different way, which enhancing a new types of idea and concept, and subject goes to a different angle. This is molecular medicine. So these two actually lost their own identity. They are not going to become genetics to clinical genetics or medicine to regenerative medicine. They are going to make a new or separate type of this thing where both actually solve a problem with a problem based on a project or an objective focus. So they reach to an objective, completely a third objective, which is called interdiscipline. So this is the first idea I have given you. Let us see further more expansion of it. Now it is little more elaborate ways. Here, discipline A, B, C in all the cases. This is multidiscipline, this is interdiscipline, and this is transdiscipline. Now, discipline A. Discipline A is a physiological sciences. Discipline B here, obstetrics and gynecologists. Discipline C here, pathological sciences. So the three disciplines, they are actually individually working in three different projects, not like interdiscipline, which I mentioned earlier, a single project, reach to a single project. Here, they're working, suppose multidiscipline, they're working for specific one gene that is called VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor. The role of vascular endothelial growth factor on a physiological condition called hypoxia. So in hypoxia, what exactly role VEGF plays? So this gene, what role it plays in hypoxia, physiological sciences discipline are working. So their target project is hypoxia. Similarly, obstetrics and gynecology, their also target project is preeclampsia, but the target gene is here VEGF, same like physiological sciences. They are trying to find out the role of vascular endothelial growth factor in preeclampsia or pregnancy-induced hypertension. So they are also working. And third is a discipline C, pathological sciences. Here, pathological sciences, they are working in the same gene VEGF, but they are working actually see the role and influence of VEGF to develop malignancy. So their work target project is cancer. So 3 different project, gene is same. Now here, they are not separating each of the discipline, keeping their integrity same for the same 3 projects. And they are not mutually, they make a common project. 3 are different projects. But an interest of understanding and knowledge is same like all the 3. VEGF is a common. So this is an example of a multidiscipline where discipline does not lost its integrity or not combined to solve one issue. They're doing actually their own issues separately, but taking the knowledge together. So VEGF knowledge understanding for physiology will benefit obstetrics and gynecology. They must share. Pathology must share the knowledge of VEGF for their cancer purpose, also to understand what happens to the physiological knowledge gains and obstetric gynecological knowledge gain. So this is the way each discipline actually getting under the medical faculty is 3 disciplines, which is vast based on their subject itself and confined into a discipline itself, are actually working for one specific gene only, if you see in a broader sense. But in a multidiscipline, why? Because they're doing the 3 different projects separately. Is it clear for you? This is one of the very important and interesting part of understanding multidiscipline, the word when you use. Let us go to interdiscipline. Interdiscipline aspect here, you see same 3 subjects, and here the gene, again, interest is the same vascular endothelial growth factor gene. So they are all 3 disciplines working with a gene, but their work is mainly not from like a hypoxia, nor like a preeclampsia, nor like a cancer. They're actually working to better understand the vascular medicine, where how vessels work specifically in presence of VEGF expression high or low, or how it modulates the signal mechanism, cell signal in the multiple aspect by aging. It may be by low oxygen, it may be by aging, it may be by cancer, whatever it may be. The actual objective to find the arterial health. Arterial health, they want to know how they work. So vascular medicine, they're working. So main project is vascular medicine. Separately, they are discipline, but they're all discipline work together to get a project and successful end of the understanding of vascular medicine. This is interdiscipline. Transdiscipline, where I already told, is an issue, and it needs a completely different way to understand. Here, 3 issues. One issue is smoking, one issue is nutrition, other issue is industry. Policymaker decided that all 3 issues are very important in a particular locality or particular area or a community. So in this study, they want to do something that they linked it, that whether these are the link to the cancer. I've given an example just. So it means all the 3 disciplines, they're actually working for a new things, that is to understand how smoking, nutrition, and industrial presence and its presence of industry in a locality and a community areas, how it influences in cancer. So actually it is helping the cancer biology discipline. So this is the way the oncology develops. So oncology has come out of this way, the understanding of where the 3 issues together. In this, each of the issues, they might have recruited the physiologists, might have recruited the physicians, might have recruited the other people like a pulmonologist or psychologist or psychiatrist or many other people. Similar nutrition also, they have recruited many of the people from the nutritional background and all. And also they included the industry and how the industry policymaker, they work together. And this is the way. So this is the way the transdiscipline work, which I further explain in the next slide. The next slide is very interesting. It's the same transdiscipline research, little way I will mention, and I like to cite it from Wikipedia. Wikipedia about the transdiscipline, they're very interesting and good word they have used, a research strategy. So important part is the strategy, not the subject. So other places you have seen, it is the discipline concerned with their own subject to improve the knowledge, either combined and one objective or combined to get the support for different objective. But transdiscipline here, that strategy actually crosses many discipline boundaries to create a holistic approach. So a research strategy, so strategy is important. So in this strategy, you see researcher may be there, policy makers are also there, in a doctors, because I have mentioned here is a medical science interdisciplinary lecture is on health sciences. So doctors are there. Similar can be in the engineering, similar can be in the legal forums or pure science, physics, chemistry, anything. So this is the way they do, and they co-deliver, coexist together, and mutual trust and respect. And they got a lot of research input and solution also they got it. And based on that, they take a decision. So like the need of development of oncology, further go to oncosurgery, oncohematology, like that way disciplines go on increasing. And they make the multidiscipline, interdiscipline in a direction that is completely unique by its own way. Now, actually, this is a test, but unfortunately, I will not able to get the answer. Here, actually, my question is discipline, interdiscipline, multidiscipline, A, B, C, D. Can anyone guess which is actually the interdiscipline here? Is it A or B or C or D? But all are in the live, in the YouTube, so they may not answer. So I have to answer it that this answer is the C. Why? This is the discipline itself. A is the discipline. Interdiscipline is then it is the multidiscipline. So B is the multidiscipline. So multidiscipline, you see, all three are separated. They are sharing knowledge with each other. Okay. Then C. C is the interdiscipline where they're actually combined and occupy the knowledge into the different, and they get a complete understanding of it. One project in all three domains support together in a one project, which is not in case of multidiscipline. All are separated. And D is an issue. So this question does not arise in case of transdiscipline. So this is multidiscipline, this is discipline, this is interdiscipline, and this is transdiscipline. I have already explained to them that initially that how this interdisciplinary research, because my talk will be focused mainly on the research part, as interdiscipline can be various aspects. Academic, even teaching also have an interdisciplinary approach. Even working together for fulfilling one task or multiple tasks, support from each other, not by research, but by knowledge sharing, also maybe multidiscipline, interdiscipline, all. So here I focus mainly on the research. And one thing you must remember that individual discipline may not have the research as an important part, but interdiscipline, multidiscipline, transdiscipline always have a research background, whatever it may be, even academic or translation to a product, but there is a research within this discipline when they join hands together for making interdiscipline, multidiscipline, or transdiscipline works. So here, interdisciplinary research is a mode of research by teams or individuals. So there are two things. It may be team or even individual can also have interdisciplinary research. Integrate information, data, techniques, tools, perspective, concept, and theories from two or more disciplines or bodies of specialized knowledge to advance fundamental understanding to solve problems whose solutions are beyond the scope of single discipline or area of research practice. National Science Foundation, US. This is one example. Now I'm completely focusing only on interdiscipline because it is a time consuming. So I cannot discuss each of them separately, but each one of them have a separate merit, and one separate specific classes and specific lecture can be actually arranged for discuss each one of them. Transdiscipline can be one full, multidiscipline can one full lectures on that. I am focusing today only interdiscipline. Let us see. There is a research objectives. There is an aims objective, one particular research purpose, and this purpose, several discipline peoples are involved in the research. From molecular biology, expert from the stem cell, expert from the proteomics, genomics, or bioinformatics background, experts from the biophysics, biophysicists, medical science, medicine from the regenerative branches, and radio imaging or imaging from the radiological aspects. all together, and they are actually supporting neurosciences. Neurosciences, one particular research, they want to do it, and they want to solve some of the human crises and problem, and they want to do something. For that, they need a support from all. So these are the support base. You see, all are binding. So this support base will solve one of the problem. There are many problems may be solved in the same hypothesis like these ways. So one is here. Again, it was actually a question mark, so it is not possible here. So I will click that what problem they want to solve. They want to solve Alzheimer's disease. So understanding Alzheimer's disease, it is not possible neuroscientists alone to solve it, or alone can understand how to solve it, or cannot control and regulate. They require the stem cell ultimately, but they require the molecular biology and all these supports to resolve an issue, a human crisis and human issue called Alzheimer's disease. So why interdisciplinary research? Why it is required? I have already given a background ideas all of you. So I will now not discuss too much about that. I will say that why interdisciplinary research required is growth in knowledge and technology. This is a very important and a fundamental knowledge. The knowledge of biological science, physiology, pathology, and I'm sorry here, I'm only discussing on the medical and life sciences, biological sciences. Same can be applicable for engineering, technology, or any other pure science, physics, chemistry, mathematics, any branch they can discuss in this way. So here, in a health sciences research, in interdisciplinary is required. Why it is required? Because knowledge has been grown up. Technology has been advanced. And with this, all this actually fighting against the diseases or make the human health better, or a better human life. So for that, you require a understanding from each branches of the life sciences, where biological science, genetics, physiology, pathophysiology, anything they require. And complexity in the diagnosis, treatment, prevention, both the time you require. Because medical science cannot go only with the subjects of medicine, surgery, or obstetrics and gynecology or pediatrics. It required the understanding to diagnosis many of the branches clinical side. But clinical side will be blank if the basic sciences does not support it to gain the knowledge. Clinical science mainly the observational. Research in clinical medicines of any branches are observational by nature, whereas the basic science research in medical sciences, basic medical science research is mainly the generation of knowledge. So one is the dissemination of the knowledge and observational of the knowledge and support to the basic science. So basic science can create the knowledge. So it is required interdisciplinary approach. And so many clinical trials are going on. So large samples required for various aspects. So there is a community medicine required. There is a required for public health, required for nutrition, required for orthopedics, or required for any branches, pathology to any of the branches of medical sciences. Second is demographics. As you see, the aging population is fast now going on increasing and large number. Now, it is not easy for treating with a system biology by one specific discipline itself. If you see the medicine at the moment in US, specifically United States, and also part of the UK, which I have seen and I have noticed, and I work with them also, in this aspect, they're very specific to personalized medicine. Recently, last year, Washington University's neurosurgery chair, Professor John Marino Ramirez, came here to visit BLD. So he has delivered a lecture. In his lecture, he delivered on personalized medicine. So it indicates that a neurosurgeon is working and doing the research, delivering medical students talk in our country on personalized medicine. So it indicates how much vast and diverse it can be. So yes, this is required. And another is the prevalence of the chronic illness is a very interesting, which actually make another understanding that most of the persons in disease conditions you'll be finding in a chronic, you'll find that they are suffering more than one disease. So maybe the kidney, maybe cardiovascular, maybe neurological or psychological problem, psychiatric problem with renal system, or in the gastroenteric system. Now, to make it specialized, super specialized, whatever way India said it, as such, there is no such word in actually in the Western country. All are same. There is MD in neurosurgery, MD in oncology also, and MD in physiology also. In India, I do not know why they made it, these things not clear, because US system is a residency-based system. There they make the super specialist or a specialist, depend on the years. It is 3 years to 7 years required to become a resident with complete the residency with a specialty. Now, here in these cases, definitely a disease nowadays cannot be controlled by a family physician. In our childhood, we remember we had a family physician who used to come look after the health of all the children, elderly, and also the young adults. And he used to give the treatment for pediatric as well as also for the psychological problem with the elderly, and also the treating the obstetrics and gynecology of the elderly young adult ladies also. So this is not possible nowadays. People now specialize, they go and they discipline they follow in a very particular way. So here, this means that there need an interdiscipline approach. So in this regard, the demographics is one of the important factors. And then lastly, to bridge the gap between behavioral and biological sciences and various applications of the clinical trials where interdiscipline is required, including the statistical, computational basis, mathematical computational or computational model-based subjects are required. Next is the goal of interdisciplinary approach. What are the goals? 3 basic goals are very important. First goal is strong basic research. Interdisciplinary research has a purpose of a strong basic research must be a goal for it. Because when you are going for interdisciplinary research, each of the disciplines should be very strong. So here, in a medical problem and issue solved by a particular application to the clinical sites for controlling the disease, where you cannot go with proper or improper basic science facilities. So if the institution and medical college does not have a supportive physiology, biochemistry, anatomy, primarily, then pathology, pharmacology, proper high standard or a quality-wise good research fundamentals, then this support will definitely benefit the clinicians and clinical research, and even the clinical research also be benefited. And that make tomorrow a new discipline to emerge. And that's the way actually all new discipline like oncology, as I told you, like the discipline or bioengineering, many of the discipline actually created newly because of this. And this is one of the purpose of interdiscipline research goal, to see that tomorrow a new discipline can start. That is actually primary objectives. When it goes, that is the translational, that is transdiscipline objective will go. But interdiscipline, strong basic research, clinical and all make it perfectly correct to going it in a higher direction. Now, to reach this goal, I have partly said it, human resource, infrastructure, funding, society. Human resource is one of the very important factor for interdisciplinary research. Here, scientific training program for physicians and biomedical studies scaling up existing successful units. So here, a scientific training programs are resource to reach the goal of interdiscipline. So human resource should be first trained. So it may be basic scientist, basic medical scientist, or it may be clinicians, but human resource without understanding of their own discipline proper, that how it can actually help and get to make a project and solve an issue of a clinical discipline, that must require the support from the fundamental basic medicine that is required. So each of them must understand. So strong training program required to make the human resource. And co-funding, second is co-funding. co-funding is very important because each discipline must support each other. And if the discipline does not generate the fund, other disciplines should support them. In medical science, unfortunately, it is not there. There are discipline-wise, if you simply organize a program of a conference or seminar, you will find that the way the sponsorship you'll be getting for the clinical discipline, which you will not get at all in the basic science departments. Does it mean that basic science are not required for medicines? Does it, again, basic science cannot get any objective because they do not know what is the problem until clinical research say that this is the problem. So it means there are mutual support required, co-funding required. And definitely another thing is required, the highest level of research ethics, because interdiscipline, there is a scope of violating the ethics. Multidiscipline may not have that much as interdiscipline is having, because multidiscipline, they keep their own objective intact. But interdiscipline, all they forget their individual interests, they make a new objective to reach and support each other. So ethics is very important, that how they can keep it. If my laboratory in physiology generated the data, and if my co-partner is from other institution, and that institution, the person might be a clinician, maybe a urologist or a surgeon, so he may be depending on my data. So I must share with him properly. Similarly, he should also share. This is actually a big problem when we do the interdiscipline, we find. Somehow we feel that we'll not share everything. This required the highest values of ethics. And I think that medical ethics and recent National Medical Council bill has given a separate importance for the ethics itself. Another is the infrastructure to reach the goal. Yes, it is actually investment required for the basic science laboratory strong, and also hospital equally strong for supporting the research, because my topic is, it is a research, interdisciplinary research. So our medical institutions, around 540 institutions around, hardly except the creamy institutions, hardly any institution having a research infrastructure, appropriate research infrastructure for the clinical department itself. Forget about the basic science. So this need to be solved. A proper infrastructure, if it is not there, and National Medical Council bill actually going to entertain, and it is going to be implemented very soon. Each of the doctors today, medical student, must remember that it is not one part of this. You may be replaced if it is not been found that your productions or your work is not worthy. And you may be already knowing that Indian medical research, Indian Council of Medical Research, most of the grant goes to non-medical institutions, because there is, say that hardly except a few medical institutions, other they do not do research. And now NMC has asked the research to be a strong component and part, and interdiscipline should be very effective. So this regards to infrastructure is important. So each of the organization institution, their management must see that, our government must see each of the medical institution come up with a proper this one. Collaboration, I will discuss about the collaboration separately, how it is effective with an example of my own laboratory. And one thing you must remember, it is the post-genomic clinical medicine now. You are all in the post-genomic medical medicine. As I already told, Professor Ramirez last year delivered talk on personalized medicine. So it is a post-genomic medicine effect. So this is the way our country has to go. It is not a common medicine drug, it's a common dose calculated by the body weight, cannot, and times and hours cannot be near. That dose and drugs and that may not be effective to another person, because the post-genomic medicine has said the response to a specific molecules depending on its genetic structures. So without that, it is not possible. So please understand, it is not just the treating. If you treat, you will be remain as a doctor. But if you want to go for a knowledge gainer, you have to come up to the research. And in this research, when you come up, you have to fit with every aspect. So you must be trained. You must be trained, and knowledge should be gained by infrastructure development, by books, literature, research scopes, and and the infrastructure, what requirements, all things should be done. You see that how it is important. Recent COVID incidents has clearly shown how interdiscipline is important. It purely found that most of the department of microbiology, where microbiology faculty members are there, hardly they operate the real-time PCR for to finding out the genomic sequence and the presence of the COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2 virus. So it means that we studied medicine, we studied the subject, but we hardly use the instrument which is required for that. We literally have to hire, even the government institution of Karnataka literally hire the people from basic scientists who operated the RT-PCR for supporting the diagnostic kits to the microbiology department. I know I'm proud that one of my students, Mr. Rajat Hegre, he is one among them, has been selected by the government of Karnataka for giving support to the microbiology department for COVID laboratory. This is the scenario. So you require infrastructure, you require knowledge, and that is the future. You do not know which way it will go. So there is a radical changes required for the medical sciences. And definitely I will tell information technology support is a very important infrastructure, because I remember when we did the research, and that time the instrument what we used to use and we do not use the same. Now the electrophysiology in my laboratory, which are having all the advanced, including the radio telemetry device for small animals, which can be implanted inside the mice and rats and get all the data for 24 hours. Such things are not imagined when I did my own PhD. So this development, when infrastructure comes, you must also take the support of IT. Engineering and medical are unique combination with the support of three fundamental subjects: physics, chemistry, and biology. These three are ultimately developing everything. So this is the time has come now. We have to develop this structure, and funding, which I've already told that it requires. Another aspect is societal means. Societal means is a sharing the research and results. This is required because what objectives still so far we are having in the medical school: treat the patient and get out of these things and make the patient happy and all public happy. But it is not completely these things. In the society we are connected. Our presence as a medical teacher, our presence as a medical student, whether the society benefits, because we do not know, only not a community medicine service for a couple of months, though the subject is taught from the first year to the last year, but hardly it has taken the importance. But it is the most important department of I can tell the discipline in the medical sciences is the community medicine. And now we are really feeling the heat in COVID-19, how bad we are in community medicine subjects. And also I will tell that how badly it is handled by top institutions of US, though they are claiming that they have the everything's like CDC and all, but they badly handle it. So it means there's a huge scopes are there for doctors to do the research in the societal medicines. So here, interdisciplinary approach is very important. You require statistician, you require the public health experts directly, you require the medical science medicine experts, you require the treatment and therapeutic aspects and pharmacology also equally. So societal means science from the laboratory must go to the public. Then the objective of a science is fulfilled. Specifically for medical science, directly people expect that there should be benefit to the society linked, and research must be interdisciplinary here. Then only it can go where hands to hand by everybody. The challenges, these are the challenges we are having. That first challenge is to prepare the human resource, which I have discussed. It is not easy. I just like to finish it up and tell it in this way, that this is my laboratory vascular physiology. We are working on an issue called stroke. So we are developing animal model on stroke. So by blocking one unilateral one carotid artery, I did it in our side. Our laboratory did it on the left carotid artery and right carotid artery. Now, while doing this, the system, the mechanism is the mid-cerebral carotid artery occlusion by putting the catheter. This is a very delicate and very sophisticated device to research. And I was in that time in the UK, in Leeds University as a visiting professor. And I came back and I trained my research scholars. They are my research scholars. This is Dr. B.S. Patil, Dr. Ishar. So they were my research scholars. I was training, but somehow we are not getting success. So I asked one of my mentors from Leeds University, Dr. Shikha. So she came to India and we invited. So she visited twice in 2016 and taught our students and took the test on our PhD scholars to develop these things. So this is a challenge. Means we learned, we went abroad, learned, came back, could not succeed properly. That is something. Then we required the support from the Western University, came, taught, modified, modulated with a lot of discussion. This type of challenge you require for interdiscipline. Dr. Shikha is a neuroscientist. And very interestingly, Dr. B.S. Patil and Dr. Ishar are anatomists. And I am a physiologist with Dr. Silakshmi Bagli, another physiologist, and Dr. Chandramoli Reddy, a biochemist, all they supported. So it is a peculiarity of my laboratory of vascular physiology that we have pathologists, physiologists, biochemists, neuroscientists. We have orthopedic surgeon also as scholars. So this indicate that a laboratory just to start itself will require a support from others. And this is the way. And second important point I want to tell that interdisciplinary peer review. Whether your interdisciplinary research on a particular project, as I mentioned, like stroke. Here we are working with a project in the molecular result of a HIP1 alpha on specific gene, how it alters in a high altitude and how it altered in the COPD. So our working, when you're working in this pattern, whether our correctly working because we have a connected with the pulmonologist, connected with the biochemist, pathologist, but we do not know whether it is correctly done or not. So we have invited Dr. Gustavo Juvieta, a renowned pulmonologist, a researcher in high altitude pathology. He's the director of Institute of Pulmonary Pathology at La Paz. So he came and we explained, this is one of the scenario I think, why we required interdisciplinary research will only flourish when there is a peer reviewed by another expert colleagues. So he listened all of our explanation and all work. He personally did the work, and this is the way that it goes on. So thanks to Dr. Gustavo. So this is the way, the challenges you have to face, and multiple ways required a good networking for the interdisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary research without networking by doctors and scientists, basic scientists or clinical medicine, absolutely not possible. You require the connections and all. Both the cases, giving example how interdisciplinary sub people, pulmonologists, neuroscientists, how they helped us for developing and solving two different issues. So need of the learn to other discipline vocabulary, one of the big challenge, because we do not know, we know very comfortable to our own. We know our subject is a physiology, but we do not know what pathology, do not know what medicine and other does. So this is a challenge. And if you go for beyond that to engineering branches to cross-check like a civil engineering or mechanical engineering for understanding the devices which is required for a human locomotions or movements, science or skeletal-muscular disorder to correct, we require the support for mechanical engineer to pick the device. So there you have to respect each other vocabulary and you have to require mutual trust, proper investment, many of the factors. And also lastly, is the intellectual property rights should be also taken into account. Way to go. This is an example I like to say that how the collaboration, way to go, how we will go to interdisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary research, you require a collaboration. Now, example of a multidiscipline collaboration I'm explaining. This is the physiology department, laboratory of vascular physiology and medicine under my supervision. This laboratory is a unique, it is 2015, it is established, and the laboratory currently having around 5 to 6 active scientists full-time in a different discipline branch. Now, we have the 2 projects we have handled. One from Hypertension Renal Center of Excellence for a project on hypoxia, hypertension, renal. It is the renal hypertension. The main objective here to work on the renal hypertension, which they are also interested. So we made a MOU. And based on MOU, we are working together. One part of work that we are doing here. Other part of work they are doing in the today. And both the work together, we are actually trying to benefit renal biology. And this system hypertension model, hypertension in the low oxygen system, how renal hypertension works in a specific way for the diagnostic to therapeutics, we two together working. Our purpose is actually to understand better on the vascular medicine or vascular science. what is the role of vessels in the kidney, vessels in the different system, how they respond with the system change in the hypertensive models in both the way. So we did the work mainly on the human model, and they had worked mainly on the animal mice model. So this is a unique way we have divided our works, and we're together and to understand better to develop tomorrow's new science and development department, vascular sciences, to make it advanced. Similarly, another collaboration with the Leeds Institute of Cardiovascular and Metabolic Medicine, we together with the doing. So our vascular lab and their vascular medicine lab, together we are working mainly for the stroke, which I've already given an example, and also secondary diabetes. So how in the hyperglycemia has changed the calcium channel blocker actually affected, and how it does alters, and what can be the therapeutic, like we have used here the fourth generation calcium channel blocker like cilnidipine, and how it works, we together we taught. Here, they are working mainly on the human, we work mainly on the animal. So here we reverse the things. And all the project you say Tulane University, our medical college university, BLD, and the University of Digger, all purpose of the mankind, this multi-center studies will actually develop better understanding of vascular science of tomorrow. Further is the crisscross. This is again another example to get it more idea about the collaboration, how it works. Here, Department of Physiology here, taking a big idea works, and they want to support. Here, most important part is that one of the disease osteoarthritis. Now, how to cure it? Department of Orthopedics of our medical school come forward. So one of the PhD student of us, Dr. Girish, and he and Dr. Ashok Nayak, the head of the department, they met me and they want the project. They should be doing some work on osteoarthritis. In this, when we started, we found that one of my junior, he's now currently heading the IIT Kanpur Bioengineering Department Kent Chair Professor. So we contacted, and he's ready to help because he's one of the leading experts. He's trained in Albert Einstein Medical College in New York. He's well trained in that, and he is handling the osteoarthritic issue in the small animal model. So he requires the support of the clinical. So we had an MOU with IIT Kanpur. And here we need the support now. This Department of Orthopedics to do this thing, they need the support. So we came forward, and we are one of the support. Anatomy is another the support. Surgery department also is the support, and Department of Medicine, all actually giving a better support to IIT project to osteoarthritis. Now, what exactly we want to do? We want to see that there is a development of the regenerative medicine with the support of bioinformatics, immunology, which can be further supported by chemistry, pathology, and pharmacy, all department together, because we want to solve the issue of osteoarthritis. Multidiscipline people they are working, but objective all are same. So it becomes interdiscipline. And this interdiscipline work ultimately aim is to develop a drug against osteoarthritis where replacement may not be required. So alternative to the replacement or surgical replacement of the joints, we want to develop a drug, and we are targeting specific gene, and which target genes we are going to do the work. I will not disclose now, but our target genes are working together in this fashion. It's a crisscross interdisciplinary research, and that's the tomorrow's research. Actually, this is the way we should go. So this is the way interdiscipline I tried my explain. So risk, first risk is students of this research scholar or medical students. They're eager to know, but not trained. Faculty again, untrained, and they're scared. It is a comfort zone they are going to lose because interdiscipline is a challenge. And this challenge required knowledge, skill, techniques, and also finance, and also the time. And not the comfort zone, just delivering lecture or doing a surgery. It is a different zone. So it's a challenge. So this is a risk that whether we are appropriately using our human resource correct or not, we do not know. So, and the subject and the administration also should be confirmed, and they should be giving full supportive. There's a risk that should not change the policy, suddenly the research in between in the middle. So there may be effectiveness may go. So I want to now conclude the discussion topic which I have explained to you. I tried my best to explain. I'm not sure that how many of you actually am able to do it. If you are not able to understand, this is my fault. I agree with that. I could not convince. But I also see that is a very tough, it is a very difficult domain to discuss about interdisciplinary research in medical sciences. So continuous changes in contemporary economy and society has forced academic scholars from a single discipline they are named to expand their research focus to new fields coming from different disciplines. In another word, interdisciplinary become a new imperative in scientific research. Interdisciplinary is something to be learned and acquired. It does not arise out of thin air. That is the most important part I want to say, that we say, many people I saw in the, I heard that, and I listen, they speak about interdisciplinary, all we have to do this, that, but they do not know that, which I explained to you, and I try to understand how much scientific knowledge you require to develop an interdisciplinary research network, how much resource you require, how much human resource you require, how much infrastructure you require, how much your networking required to understand the medical sciences as a whole, and then going beyond engineering, technology. Medical science cannot survive alone until the engineers support, until the chemistry support, because entire science, it is supported by chemistry. There's the queen of science. So without chemistry support, neither medical science will survive, nor engineering college or technology institute will survive. If they think this is wrong, we require to survive with everybody. Engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics. I have already given an example of electronics. Then civil engineering, public health is connected with the civil engineering. Each of the engineering branches are widely connected with the basic science, chemistry, and then partly physics and partly mathematics, because mathematics is now beginning importance because of bioinformatics, where mathematical or computational models have a big impact for research. So it means one thing is very, and we can't avoid the agriculture. Do you think that agriculture science not required for interdisciplinary research? When I was teaching in Leeds University, I was surprised to see the medical students of 4th year are being taught by agriculture engineers, scientists, because it's specifically microbiological aspect where the specific disease actually transmit from the plant's origin to the different vector, and it comes to the human. So teaching the basic understanding the Leeds University curriculum, they have kept the agriculture scientist and agriculture professor as a faculty for medicine. So where we are, we have to go in this way if we want to reach in high. So that's the reason we think this is the required. And the last slide of mine, I just end with a quote from Charles Darwin. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, the man who is given the origin of species and struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, and not the most intelligent that survives, but the one most responsive to change. So those who are ready for changing in a changing scenario of science in the globes, specifically in the medical sciences in the globes, and currently in the NMC at the moment in India, those who are not ready for change, they are not going to survive. So you have to follow and understand Charles Darwin's the thought, which is very appropriate at the moment. With this, I end my talk. I once again thank to Dr. Aisha for nice introduction to me and inviting me, and thank to SMR, all the faculty, all the students, my beloved students of all the categories, whoever listening, and thank you very much for all. And I'm ready for answering if any question you have. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I'm audible to you.
Yeah. Hello. Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this great session. Actually, I thought interdisciplinary, I was not knowing it before this session. I thought like interdisciplinary is just a kind of a networking, nothing else. But now I got to know that it's networking and collaboration also. Actually, I got it a lot of things after this session. And one question what I have is, yes, sir, go ahead.
No, please tell me.
Yeah. One question what I have is, sir, in Indian scenario, we have a lot of factors which affects us when we think of interdisciplinary approach. And what are the basic things what we have to focus on when we are making some interdisciplinary approach or an action whenever we are planning for? Because when we think of an Indian scenario, there are a lot of factors, as even you were saying, like, because when you do a research with collaborating with some other college, there are a lot of things that he might not send data to us, and we might not, even if we do 100%, they might not do it. So what are the basics things like we can focus and then work on it to go for an interdisciplinary approach?
Okay. This is the you have asked the question that what are the fundamental things that are required for interdisciplinary research in the aspects when the centers are multiple centers, multi-centric research and all. Yes, this is very important for nowadays for clinical research. The clinical trials are multicentric because you require the huge number of populations to recruit in the trials. So you require for understanding and all. And yes, this is one of the issues, because if you really clearly see, you will be finding that the Nobel Prize in medicine, physiology or medicine, by the name of physiology or medicine, the Nobel Prize always goes to the basic scientist. But interestingly, basic science research, not basic scientists, basic science research. But basic science research does not mean that basic scientists are getting it. This year Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine has gone to Greg Saminger. Greg Saminger is a pediatrician. It is shared by Sir Peter Ratcliffe. Sir Peter Ratcliffe is an internal medicine expert, and Michael Michael Kellin. Michael Kellin, the third one, he is actually basically a pharmacologist. So it does not mean, but most of the important part is that there need a good collaboration between the three scientists. They are working in the three different places. And Peter Ratcliffe works in England. So their works, they made a network connectivity and make the work success. So their requirement, the trustworthiness, I have told in one of my slides, I have shown it that you require a very much trustworthy character and understanding and respecting other people discipline. If you see here, you can find this thing that I have mentioned in one places that I not okay, let it. So what we find that one place I mentioned that you have to respect, mutual respect and trust for other discipline. This is the very important, and trust and respect of their, and that is the way the collaboration network grows. And second is the commitment. Each of the collaborators, they know that how much committed other person is. So you have to be committed to show your competency with each other. So it means everyone is equal. So trust, sense of ethics, and commitment and knowledge of your own discipline, you should be a very good level. I'm not telling the best level, but at least a good level, because you have to interact with the other people who are not in your discipline. You have to convince them. It is not easy to convince physiology to a person who is an electrical engineer. You understand? It's not that easy. So you require your knowledge to reach to that level so that you can discuss one of the issue to an electrical engineer or a mechanical engineer. What is the problem you're going to solve and how benefit will come for the human mankind? He should understand, and you should also understand his understanding of the electrical or mechanical engineering on your aspects. Classical example is Hodgkin and Huxley. Huxley is a doctor. Hodgkin is an electrical engineer. They discovered the nerve action potential, got Nobel Prize. So these factors are very important, and India's perspective, India is not ready for that. Till India is not ready, India is only concerned for the service and treatment of the 1.3 billion population. But I think now the research will get an importance. So now the scenario will be different. You will be entertained, all the people who are in this research. So that's what I want to say. It is a difficult terrain, but definitely this terrain can be conquered with a proper wish and will. Am I able to satisfy? Are you satisfied?
Thank you for this great session. Actually, I was not knowing it. A lot of things I got to know after this session. Yes, actually, you can take over.
Yes, thank you, sir, for all the valuable words that you have shared with us today. You told us, along with the basics of interdisciplinary research, you made sure that we understood what the difference between multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary research was. It was definitely an eye-opener session for all the UG graduate students, whoever is attending this session. And especially for an Indian scenario student, we got to know what scope research has, apart from the ones we see in our college and the ones we just hear about. We got to know a lot of things. The societal means that you told us about reminded us of our duties. Also, your work has always inspired us. The amazing examples you gave us, the collaborative works that you have done, has inspired us so much that maybe from the viewers, we will have people who would be going into the research field directly and taking up interdisciplinary research really soon. Before we end the session, I would like to thank Dr. Kushal sir for your valuable time, your efforts to share the knowledge with us, and for making sure we understood, and for giving us your valuable insights in this lecture, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And
thank
we
you
have
all.
received a lot of comments on YouTube, which said that we are very lucky to be here